Real Talk with Chuck and Pam. We are back, Chuck Kaplinski.
Yes, we are back.
And should we give any more validity or, I guess, air to the Will Smith fire?
Not yet.
No? Okay.
Not yet. I know, I think, what was it? A Netflix film is being put on the back burner that he was going to go in production on. I don't know if anything else has been kind of, treated in the same way, because he's obviously a very busy man. This is just going to take some time. It's just going to take some time, and, time heals all wounds, as they say.
Very true. And time is of the essence. We could go on and on with different time references. Mm-hmm. But let's
Don't waste my time.
Let's talk about time in regards to Pete Davidson and his hilarious skit that he did on Saturday Night Live. You're the one that showed me that clip.
And I never watch Saturday Night Live anymore. I was in a hotel room. My son was at a soccer tournament, so you know how that goes.
I do.
And just nothing else was on, and there it was. And he had one of his great short films called Short Ass Movies, and all about him and his two buddies, and how if it's over an hour and 40 minutes, give me a short ass movie, a really short movie. And so they go on and on about the downside of anything that's over 100 minutes. And you and I have talked about that repeatedly. I would love the return of the 90-minute movie. Right.
And it's kind of funny because Pete Davidson's movie, The King of Staten Island, I think it was called, was like 2 hours and 17 minutes. And they refer to that in that skit. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Google Saturday Night Live, Pete Davidson's short-ass movie. Yeah. And you'll find it and take a look at that. And
the people at Netflix found it.
They are right on top of things. They are not shy. They don't hold back. They barged right in.
They give the public what it wants.
That's right. And so now they have a category. And they have a gazillion categories, but one of their categories is short-ass films. Way to go, Netflix.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that when I get home tonight, just to see what they have listed under short-ass movies. But yeah, I mean, it's brilliant.
It really is. And you and I have said that, please, just make it 90 minutes. If it's not, let's look at a mini-series and hook us that way, because if it's a 3-hour-long thing.
But it's a double-edged sword. I mean, I complain about those young kids out there who have no attention span. And they do refer to that in the song.
Right,
and
they
I was
do.
very grateful for that we have no attention span.
Yeah.
I hate that. When I put down, it's like, okay, well, let's watch, you should watch, it's 2.5, I don't want to watch that.
But we do the same thing.
But it's about how you use the time.
Right.
I've sat through 3-hour movies and I've wanted more. I've sat through 90-minute movies and
it felt like 3 hours.
It felt like 3 hours. It's all in how you do it. And it's just that, but I think, those damn kids, they're just not going to give certain films that deserve the length they are a chance. And that's what worries me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, check out Netflix. I'm going to. You're going to. See what they have in their shortest films. And maybe we should come up with our own list. And we could maybe give that to the people of Netflix and see if they have those.
See if they have those. Yeah. I'm all for it. all for it.
Well, let's talk about what's opening this weekend then, both digitally streaming as well as in theaters, and maybe even a combination of the two. You are so much better than I am about staying on top of how people can watch these movies. Because to me, it's just like throw a dart, blindfold on.
Well, and it's, and sometimes I get it wrong because it's constantly shifting.
Yeah.
I think the film industry is still trying to figure this whole thing out after COVID as far as how people want to watch movies. And again, I still haven't been able to crack how they look at this from a financial point of view. I know a couple weeks ago, the Chris Pine film, The Contractor, opened same day on Paramount and then in some theaters. I mean, how do you look at the budget of that or whatever they paid for that and say, okay, we're going to get our money back if we do streaming and that? I mean, I don't understand the logic of it yet.
It's just got to be a whole different budgetary process of how they figure out what their budget is for the year, what they spend on film development, and then how many people are buying their services, how many advertisers, and go from there. It's got to be a totally different formula that they're using now than they did even 2 years ago.
Yeah. I bet I would love to I'm sure we'll see a book or two in a couple years. I would love to, because this is not stuff I think they teach in business school.
Right.
They're learning this on the fly and still trying to figure it out. So I'm sure it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of mistakes are being made.
Oh, I'm sure, but they're rectifying things. So we'll find out.
So another Chris Pine movie.
Yes,
this
my
week.
God. And, all right, so this Chris Pine movie is, to me, much better than last week's The Contractor Chris Pine movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called
All the Old Knives.
Why?
I think it because, we've got so many flashbacks and all the different techniques that we used to use that we're now using in the present day as he's interrogating people. That's all I got.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense at all. Okay,
I'm
so
Sebastian.
I didn't know either, other than the fact that as you look back, things become more dull.
Oh,
I don't know.
Pam,
No, okay, so
come
that was not
on.
fair, because I actually liked this movie, and on our website I did say that I recommended it.
Okay, I'm going to look while you're blabbling on.
Okay.
I'm going to try and figure out what the title means.
Okay, so what we have is 2 CIA operatives, and they're part of a failed mission that results in more than 100 people dying. It's a result of a hijacking.
Yeah, terrorist thing.
A terrorist thing. And so, they're all pointing fingers as to what they did wrong, who did what wrong, and how could this have happened. We followed the rules, what needs to change. And they're all feeling horribly, horribly guilty. It's a very small team of CIA people, probably like 5 or 6 people on the team. And then 6 years goes by, and now we are opening the case back up again because they suspect that there was a mole responsible for the loss of those lives of women, children, and men aboard the plane.
There's nothing worse than a mole.
There is nothing, actually mice in your house. A friend of mine is going through like an infestation of mice, and that would be worse than a mole.
You know what she needs?
What?
A mole.
A mole. She needs a cat. I tried that, and then
Start
we got
with the mole,
ringworms,
and
so it's just like a domino effect. Anyway, so back to the movie. We've got Chris Pine, who plays Harry. He's a young agent back in that time period, and he's romantically involved with Celia, who is played by Thandie Newton. I always feel like I'm lisping when I say Thandie.
Well, yeah, and you know who I was supposed to be? Michelle Williams.
Oh, was it
She was
really?
originally cast, and there was some scheduling things.
Interesting.
Not to
That
knock
might-
Miss Newton, but I love Michelle Williams.
Nope. You know what? That might explain some things in my mind as to why I tried to dissect why I didn't love this film, because the story is really good. We meet this couple in their workplace under duress, and we see how they're interacting, and we see how much they care for each other, and then we flash forward as when Henry is interviewing all of his other former colleagues as to what actually happened, and then he finally reunites with Celia, who is now married and has children, and is talking about that fateful night. They lacked chemistry. I never felt like they connected. And
Even in the flashbacks?
Even in the flashbacks, I didn't feel that chemistry.
All right.
And I was trying to figure out why. It's a compelling story, who was the mole, what happened, what really happened, and who are really the good guys and the bad guys. Again, that same kind of question that we asked back in the other Chris Pine movie. So that was the only thing that I could come up with. I didn't feel like it had that energy that it needed. And why didn't it have energy? Because I didn't see those two characters connect. You thought it had too many twists at the end. I loved the twists at the end. I didn't see them coming. So I'm not sure that I loved both twists, because I like to be able to think that you gave me all the clues in the movie to come up with this twist, and it went over my head.
No,
I love that. This didn't go over my head. I don't think they gave me all the clues.
I was going to say, I don't think they do either, but that I don't feel as though they cheated or were disingenuous, because once we do find out who the person is and why it all happened, it all made sense to me. I mean, it didn't seem as though they were, cutting the legs out from under us and it came out of left field as far as it being illogical.
Okay.
The logic was sound to me.
Okay.
The only problem I had was that I just wish they had been a bit more daring with one of the twists.
Okay.
The fact that, everyone has to be seen in a positive light. I like this one obviously more than you did. I like the fact that, as he's investigating and as he's looking up his old cronies, and when he finds out something, suddenly we've got to shift our whole perspective on what we think.
Yeah.
I really like that, because you think you're onto it, and then like, oh, wait a second, there's this you didn't know. Oh, man, so it might be that guy. It might
Right.
be. I really like that. And I like the fact that it didn't, even though it's a complex narrative, it didn't feel long, and I didn't feel as though it overstayed its welcome.
Okay.
It's an hour 42.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Shortest film.
It's not bad. And it just kept me. It kept me interested. I can see what you're saying about the chemistry thing.
Yeah,
I can see that.
And I just couldn't figure out, why am I not connected to this movie? Because it's based on a book, and the guy who wrote the book, his name is Olin Steinhauer. And I'm going to guess that was a really gripping and intriguing book. And I wonder if the casting between the two main stars made a difference, because I did not realize Michelle Williams was supposed to play the part of Celia.
So what do you have against Chris Pine?
I got nothing against that guy,
Okay.
man.
All right.
I'd like to have something against that
All
guy,
right.
but I got nothing against that guy.
Okay. He's a really nice guy. I interviewed him once, and he's a sweetheart.
I met him at Sundance.
Did you?
Gosh, what was the name of that movie? It was one of his first movies.
It was probably the same one that I interviewed him for, People Like Us.
No,
Okay.
nope. It was, I think, before that one.
Wow. Okay.
Great movie, and he was a sweetheart. Not that tall, which I was learning at that time that no Hollywood actor is very
few
tall.
of them are. Yeah.
But yeah, no, nice guy. And the guy that directed this movie, his name is Janis Metz, and he did. I don't know if you ever saw McEnroe Borg or Borg McEnroe.
Yeah.
I liked that
Good
movie.
film.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that too.
Yeah.
So anyway, check it out. It's on Amazon Prime.
I liked it.
I think you'll
I liked it
enjoy
more than
it.
you. Let's just say
I'm
that.
not going to rave about it. I think it's going to be a movie that, in 6 months I'm going to say, all the old knives. What was that one again?
Yeah.
You know?
I know you will.
I will.
I know
I will.
you will. Even though there was a lot of wine drinking in it, I thought that.
Oh, there was. Yeah, they were in
Carmel.
Carmel by the Sea, and it is a beautiful area and some pretty amazing wineries right nearby there. So yeah, except they had a lot of white wine, which I'm not a really big white wine drinker.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. So on to what else is opening up there? We got I cannot wait to hear what you have to say about the new movie. Ambulance or Ambulansen, because it is a remake of yet another Danish film.
And do you know how long that original Danish film was?
82 minutes.
Yes. 82 minutes.
Yeah.
82 minutes.
Short
The
as some.
remake is 130 fucking 6 minutes. 136. Almost 2 times.
Yeah.
Well, no, that would be about.
Let's
but
not do the
way
math.
too long. Way too long. And maybe this is unfair, but I almost wanted to say to you as you were reviewing all the old knives, don't be so hard about it. Think about what we just sat through.
Yeah.
In comparison, I mean, that's a masterpiece.
Okay. That is a really, really low bar.
Yeah,
Everything. Tom
sure,
and Jerry
sure.
is going to be a
Yeah.
masterpiece.
Jesus fucking Christ, this movie, Ambulance,
I don't think I have ever, and I've been to some movies with you where you were like really pissed off about wasting your time, but I have never seen you so angry after a movie has finished.
I'm getting older. I'm getting even more curmudgeon-y than I was. But yeah, when you're wasting my time, but also when I think of the money spent and how that's just flushed down the tube. When I think that, and in my review, my written review, I said that there's a trust, there's a bond, that there's an implicit trust that viewers have with every director when you walk in the theater. Okay, you as the viewer, you allow each film to have a little bit of stupid in it.
Sure.
There's
You suspend belief,
there's a
and that's
suspension of
okay.
disbelief. Okay, that's not going to happen in real life. Fine, we'll let that one go.
Right.
Yeah. But Michael Bay and other directors abuse that.
Yeah.
You can't expect me to what?
It comes across on the...
What, it comes
Yeah.
across? Yeah. You can't expect me to accept all the stupidity you're throwing at me and not eventually feel insulted.
Right.
You think I'm that dumb
you
that
hit
I'm
the
going to
nail on the
accept
head.
this.
Yeah.
And that's what upset me
Okay.
about this film. I shouldn't be, it was a partial problem I had with the Batman film. I shouldn't be smarter than Batman. Okay, I shouldn't. And I shouldn't be smarter than the people in this movie and it's about a bank robbery gone wrong. Jake Gyllenhaal and, what's the guy's name?
Abdul Maheen.
Abdul
II.
Maheen II. They're brothers, air quotes. Yeah, I figured that one out. And the bank robbery they have goes wrong. They hijack a ambulance, and they're going to get away somehow. And in the back is the EMT, the most gorgeous EMT in the history of EMT-ness. And of course, she would never do this job, Eliza Gonzalez. And she's treating a cop that's been shot twice by one of the robbers. And they're going to make a getaway. And somehow or another, they are able to drive all over Los Angeles.
With no traffic.
Yeah, that was one
I've
thing.
never seen that.
They're
Like
on the
ever.
highway. There's no traffic.
Unbelievable.
That none of the cops are smart enough to put out one of those spiky nail things
Right.
that I've
Or
seen.
close an exit.
Close an exit. Or there's one scene where they've got sharpshooters. They're going to blow the two guys' heads off. And we were both like, why don't you just shoot the tires? just shoot the tires. It's just, I felt dumber as I walked out.
You know what? I have to say, we had a lot of fun at one point in that movie because Jake Gyllenhaal's character, what was his name?
Danny
Sharp.
Danny Sharp.
Danny Sharp put his headphones on and started listening to the Criss Cross song, Sailing. And you guys, Chuck and I belted it out because we were in the Dolby Digital Surround Sound Theater, which meant that I think no one else could hear us.
No, because you have bleeding eardrums walking out of this thing. And I know I was talking to you about your lunch. And I think I asked how your daughter was, because that was just the type of film that it was.
And we narrated. Actually, it would have been pretty funny to have a video of us commenting on everything that was going on in the movie, because I don't know about you, but I think we were rather entertaining to one another as we're watching this unentertaining movie.
I'm glad you were there with me, because I would not have gotten through it. Yeah, this has Mystery Science Theater written all over it. And the more you drink while watching this, the better the comments would be. But this film pissed me off. And again, you and I talked afterwards, and I'm never seeing any of this man's films again.
I won't either. I'm done with them. I really am. It's kind of sad because you had pointed out a couple movies that were actually decent that he has made in the past, but man, his track record is like an 80% of crap. And you gave this a zero star.
Yeah.
I can only think of like maybe one or two other movies you've ever given a 0 to.
Well, I think they're going to happen more often.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm out of patience with so much of this. So, yeah, and the other thing I can't figure out is it's still trending positive on Rotten Tomatoes.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up right now because I've added my review, and I know you added yours. But yeah, it was trending positive in the 70s, and last time I checked, it had dropped to the 60s. But somehow or another, this is still, 67% positive, it's dropping.
It opens tonight, right?
It opens, tonight,
Thursday,
tomorrow, 96
Thursday.
reviews so far. So still a lot to come in. But if this ends up being positive.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's just 1 degree more positive than Sonic the Hedgehog Part 2. Which we did not see. Sorry again.
Yeah, sorry.
Again.
Maybe number 3 we'll see.
Let's hope
or
so.
not.
I saw the first one. It had moments.
Okay.
It had moments. In the second one, Idris Elba is a voice.
Well, I need a little more than Idris Elba's voice.
Yeah,
although his voice is pretty beautiful.
He's got a good voice, yeah. Well, and then we saw another one that we're kind of on the fence on. One that kind of liked, kind of didn't. We could one where they should have called this, and we could have told them what to do.
Right,
on
right.
Netflix.
Yeah, the Metal Lords. It's a teeny bopper coming of age movie. I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than you did.
Mm-hmm.
I love the 2 young actors, and I had to write their names down because I'm bad.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with them.
So the 2 boys are in this metal band, and they live for metal, especially the young boy Hunter. And Hunter's got kind of a dysfunctional family, and there's something going on in the other boy's life too, and I'm not quite sure what it is. And that's one of the issues that you have with this movie is we don't get enough background information. So these boys want to go into the battle of the bands and win the battle of the bands, but they really need a third person. They need a bass player, and this young Emily happens to play the cello, which means that she can play the bass. And the boys struggle with bullying. The boys struggle with, who they are and identity and, what love is. And all the typical teenage angst stuff that kids go through. But I really enjoyed these characters. These young boys were phenomenal in their roles. And the boy who played Hunter, Adrian Greensmith, he was incredible. And you and I were saying, is there any way he could have faked how he played the guitar? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He was good.
And like I say, I think this was his first film and that he is, more a musician by trade.
Oh, it's Jade. I'm sorry, Jaden Martell plays Kevin. Kevin is the character's
Kevin,
name.
that's right.
Yeah.
Kevin, yeah. And I liked him too because that actor, you could see he was learning how to play the drums.
Right.
And that whole sequence I thought was really good, where he's starting to figure this whole thing out.
Yeah, and he's starting to figure the whole thing out about what love is and what friendship is too, and what it means to be a friend, and balancing all of that out. I thought it was a sweet film. I think that I wish they would have had a little bit more about the family background too. It was almost as if they were non-existent, with the exception of Brett Gelman playing Hunter's father, who was this.
Who was a stereotype.
Yeah, he was this big, fat, balding, middle-aged man who was a plastic surgeon, and they made a few really funny jokes with that. I love Brett Gelman. I really like him. So yeah, just needed a little bit more meat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it was fine. I think kids are going to like it.
Yeah, it was okay.
You know what? There's another movie out on Disney Plus called Better Nate Than Ever. I loved that movie. That one is totally inspiring and uplifting, and about a boy who just doesn't fit in. Again, the same kind of tropes that we have in all these teenage movies. You just don't fit in. How am I going to fit in? I get picked on. What do I do?
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I thought that was a little bit more G-rated. So if you want a film that you can watch as a family that's a little bit more G-rated, if you're a little bit more comfortable dropping a couple F-bombs with your kids, then maybe Metal Lords is a little bit more appropriate, and you can talk about some of the issues that they go up against with that.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so that's enough with that one.
Yeah.
And then you saw the Automat, and that's not playing anywhere locally, but we do have listeners in New York, Ireland, England. We've got listeners all over the place.
Did you not get around to that one?
I watched half of it. I did not make it through the rest of it. I had a time constraint.
Yeah, I think it's also available on pay-per-view.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
so you can get it at home, the Automat. Yeah, it's and I had heard about this. I had heard about the Automat and seen it in old movies. And this documentary is about the history of this thing, how it came about. These two guys who were just kind of both had failed enterprises from Philadelphia. One of them was from Philadelphia, one was from New York, and they just come together with this brilliant idea of a cafeteria / restaurant thing
/ vending machine.
where all the food is behind a glass in these huge wall that's of like small boxes, and you see what the food is behind the glass, and it used to be a nickel.
Yeah.
Say a nickel, put a nickel in, you get a piece of pie. Put a nickel in, you get a sandwich. And just it was fascinating, just so many fascinating things, because the documentary talks about how this becomes a cultural touchstone. Especially in New York, where they have their largest expansion, how immigrants would flock there. The food was cheap. You would run into people who had similar experiences to you. They didn't rush you out, so it could become a meeting place. I just thought that was absolutely fascinating. And just also how they talked about the growth of this thing, because apparently they also had stores. That would open up in neighborhoods. And their whole slogan was, take care of mom, so she doesn't have to cook, come and get something. And they had great interviews, Colin Powell, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Elliot Gould, Mel Brooks.
Yes, he's a part of that.
All of them remembering this place and what it meant.
And if you're over 50 and you're from New York, you're going to know that you have been there, because it's going to bring back a lot of memories.
I didn't realize it had lasted as long as it did, that the last one closed in 1991.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, 1991 they said. And they said that at its height, they were feeding 800,000 people a day.
I wonder if there'll be any kind of a resurgence of the concept of that, because think of how COVID-friendly that is.
It is. It is.
Nobody's serving. Everything's behind glass. Everything is a vending machine kind of thing. I don't know.
Did you get to the point to where the woman who made the film found at an antique shop? She found some of the one wall of these compartments. Yeah, she found them. Okay. And was just marveling at that they could, still, some of them could still exist.
Yeah.
I don't know. I that would be interesting for COVID, but what would you charge nowadays? That's the problem.
It would be an Apple Pay. You'd hold your phone up, and there would be no coins.
Right,
yep.
Yeah. But just, it's something that, after I watched the film, I was like, damn, I'm sorry I missed that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't have that. I mean, because, I love how all the people they interview would rave about the things that they loved.
Right.
the lemon pie, the this, the that, the other. So.
Yeah, lemon meringue. And I was trying to think, I thought that we had one in our hometown. I know that I've been to one. I'm from New York State. And I'm trying to think, the first time I went to New York City was like in 1987-ish. So maybe it was then
would still
that I
be
had,
there.
Yeah, so maybe I had stopped in there. I know I stopped in Harlem for a little bit. Harlem wasn't what it is now. It was a little different back in the day. So yeah, that's I have a memory of it. I just can't place when it was or where.
Yeah,
So.
Automat. I really liked it, and I haven't been watching a lot of documentaries, but I really like this one.
There's another documentary that came out that is it's good. It's uplifting. It's a March Madness kind of film. It's called Alaskan Nets. It's about a group of people in Alaska.
Americans?
They're Native American, and they live for basketball. Unfortunately, they also die for basketball, which is not a good thing.
What's the name of this?
Alaskan Nets. And it's the Metlakatla.
You nailed that.
I did, didn't I? I'm sure
nailed
I did not. And they, it's a very small-knit group of people, and as I said before, they live for basketball. They live for a championship, and they had a championship 40 years ago.
Huh.
And they think that they should be able to have a championship every single year, and they can't. And there are children who, they all have a very different way of life. The film explores the difficulties that these people have. Their fishing industries and how they're going downhill, how they can't make ends meet. And they really focus on a couple of kids on the team that are cousins and the rivalry and the pressure that each of these boys has within their own family, as well as the town, and the pressure the coach has in order to win.
You said they die for basketball too.
There, in the history of this town, there have been multiple suicides because they couldn't make it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So they're really taking this seriously.
Yeah, so they interview the teachers and the principal, and the principal's like, we got to show these kids that there's more to life than basketball, but basketball can be a springboard
avenue out of here.
to have other things. And that's what these kids aren't getting. They have a very narrow focus on helping the family, which is not a bad thing, and contributing by fishing and diving, which is a really dangerous thing to do. But they do it because the fishing industry and netting is just not producing what it used to produce. So it touches on a lot of different aspects of life for this town and traveling. Man, talk about an away game.
Oh, I can't imagine.
They fly. They're gone
are.
for a week. So grades are an issue as well. I think it's an inspiring film. It loses focus a little bit. It meanders a little bit too much down different platforms, but I think in the end it's uplifting.
Can you get that on pay-per-view? Because I am not aware of this one. I'm going to have to hunt this one out.
I believe that, you know what, I will post something on our Facebook page. I believe that you can stream it, and I will let you guys know.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that out, because this sounds good.
Yeah, I think you would like it. I really do.
Okay, I'll look for that one.
The other thing is, make sure you stream. If you do not have Apple TV, get it now and watch Severance. Trust me.
All right.
The finale, season 1, episode 9, is Friday. If you're listening, and I'm posting this tomorrow, that's today.
That's today. All right.
Watch it.
So I'll catch up.
Yeah.
And I know you were over the moon because they said season 2 is coming.
Oh, yes, they announced season 2. I'm so excited. Ben Stiller directs this baby, and he does a phenomenal job with Adam Scott starring in the film.
All right.
Okay.
So, sounds like a full week.
All right.
Plenty to watch. Yes, and
Next week?
we'll be back next week to talk about a few other things, and also Ebert Fest, where we're going to appear.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that as well.
Cheers.